How do you handle a situation whereby your child does not accept correction, or they find it difficult to accept correction, or they chose not to accept correction? How do you handle such situation? So I will be sharing with us today tips on how to handle such situation. This is not actually a new thing to me. As a matter of fact, I've been experiencing this countless times, and I've actually been trying to figure out how to handle this, and it has not been easy, sincerely. So I do not want to react in a way that this child will feel like I do not love them, or maybe I do not care about them. So I was looking for actually a way out to make this child understand that this thing you are doing repeatedly, it is not good. This thing you're doing repeatedly wouldn't help you to grow. So that is why I'll be sharing a few tips with you today that can actually help you if you have a child that you have been trying to correct, and that child is not accepting correction, or maybe you're repeating a particular thing for you're repeating a particular correction for that child for multiple times. I could actually understand how it feels, and that is why I'm here to help. So I know that right now you're like, oh, let her give us the tip. Let me see if it's going to work, and everything will just be over, and that child will begin to accept correction, and like that. But then you know that there are some children that easily accept correction. There are some that you need to keep correcting and correcting before they make adjustments. And why there are still some other children that, no matter how you correct them, they would still be the way they are, right? But there are things that lead to this. If you're the parent of that child and you are able to nurture that child from infancy, that child will not have a big issue. That child, why nurturing that child, you could actually have helped that child learn how to accept correction. But a situation whereby that child is a word to you, and probably the environment where they grow, is not such an environment where they cultivate good habits, and so that child has been wayward for some time, and now you are trying to shaping that child back to being a responsible child, is going to be very difficult. And if you find yourself in that situation, which is where I also find myself, listen to this. Do not go anywhere. So now let's dive right into the point. So number one point is patience. Honestly, if no one has told you, you need patience. I remember when I used to scream at my loudest voice. I used to shout like, the whole world was overwhelming me. But these things were not helping matters. So I had to stop shouting and screaming as soon as I realized that it was not helping matters. I had to be patient with my word. I had to be patient with myself. So I discovered that being patient helps me to manage my anger, because you know what it means for a child not to accept correction. Your anger, the next time the child repeats it, increases, and it can go out of hand. It can escalate. So that is why I was able to understand, oh, patience is required. I first exercise patience. So it helps me to manage my anger first. So number two tip is to ask that child why they did what they did. Like, why did they repeat what you have corrected them about? Now, I discovered in my situation that initially when I used to scream, shout, and afterwards, maybe I go ahead to flog, afterwards, I forget about the situation, it repeats itself again. I had to watch it and see that what I needed to do was ask question. I had to ask my word questions like, okay, why did you do this again? What made you do this again? So I got answers like, I forgot. I didn't want to do this intentionally, but I forgot. And I also ask a follow-up question. You forgot. What were you thinking about? What were you thinking about? So, she tells me that, oh, I was thinking about this, I was thinking about that, and that was why this happened. So you can see that with that question that I asked, I was able to get where the problem was coming from. So with that, I knew that her mind was, everywhere. Her mind was not just in the presence, it was going to different places at different time. Like, she couldn't really focus on the present. And that is why I was able to start looking at how I could help a child who is suffering from a lot of distractions of the mind, to be focused in the present, like to be in charge of their mind, to control their mind, to focus on the now. And while I was doing that, I began to see traces of changes. Though we haven't really arrived at, our destination where I want her to be at the moment. But then I can see progress being made. So you can try out these three tips if your situation is similar to mine. If you're not following me yet, I think this is a perfect time for you to click on that subscribe button and also like this video, because I'll be sharing more helpful tips that can help you, create a bond between you and your word and still ensure that that child is responsible. Thank you.